Good evening. My name is Jeff Snyder. Today is December 14th, 2022, and this is the regular scheduled meeting of the Frostburg Planning Commission meeting. Call this meeting to order. First thing we'll do is take a roll call. If you would, please.
Adam Ritchie.
Karen Crow.
Jeff Snyder.
Henry Ray.
I would ask that anyone present doing business before the commission or any individuals who would like to come forward to comment on business before the commission or any other concerns, please come forward and at the appropriate time state your name, address for the record. As was indicated at the beginning of the meeting, each meeting is recorded, so please speak clearly. If we could first at this time review the minutes from the last planning commission meeting from June of 2022.
Make a motion that the minutes be approved as presented. Second.
There's a motion and a second. The meetings are hereby approved, or the minutes are hereby approved. Is there any citizen comment? If there is, you can come forward at this time. Otherwise, we do have a number of projects on the schedule for this evening. Seeing that there's no citizen comment, let's go to the project presentation. So, first project tonight is 121 McCulloh Street. It's a request for a favorable recommendation for BOZA for a large family childcare home and or private school. Is there someone to make presentation? Come forward, please.
You can sit at the table.
Okay. Again, if you would state your name clearly.
So my name is Siobhan Lewis Roach, and I live at 121 McCulloh Street in Frostburg.
Okay. Can you describe your project, please?
Sure. So I've had a small family daycare license, which is for up to 8 children, since 2010 in Maryland. And I have my master's degree in education. So I've done that. I've taught in the county a few years here and there in between, but always done before and after care or things. So MSDE is actually requiring by 2031 that 50% of all pre-K programs in the state be in private settings. Okay. It's in the Maryland Blueprint grant, so that's like a requirement. So I'm working towards, in August, being a publicly funded private pre-K program in the area. So I'll be, like we have Bell and Frost, I'll be another option that is free for parents. In order to do that, I need the large family license. I'm also looking at trying to do a private school option for elementary age kids. I have my master's degree in special education, and we just don't have a lot of like small focused options, especially right here in this town, for children that have like special needs. There are a lot of parents trying to pull their kids out and homeschool them, but they're not certified and don't have the experience. So I want to have like classrooms for those that just might need a smaller, more sensory friendly place to learn. So that's where the private school application comes in.
Okay. Does any board members have any questions?
We've been given the specs of the unit. Are there changes to be made to the structure itself?
No, the variance that I requested, so right now I'm within it and I can do it without, but I would appreciate a variance for, the planning commission says you can only use 25% of your square footage. So I can meet that. I have a large room with a classroom, but, you know, to meet the letter of the law, I would like to be able to take the kids up to the front door and sit them on the sectional and put their shoes and coats on, you know, so I use the living room, or I'd like to be able to use the kitchen to cook at and eat in. But as far as like outside structure, it's not gonna look any different than it does and has since it was built. Same with the inside. I mean, it's just a living room, a kitchen, bathroom. I would just like to be able to not be stuck to the 25%, just because I think that the intent of that is more for like retail businesses or offices. I'm just using like an upstairs bathroom or the kitchen or the living room upstairs. The rest of it is in the fully finished, like, walkout basement. And then the staffing is what I asked for. You know, it says you can have one staff member. If I have the large family, I need to have 2 staff members there. So if I were to leave, I would technically have like 2 people there that weren't me working, in order to meet like ratios and things, like if I had an appointment or something like that, to
So
not
this
be
is-
able to close.
5 days a week.
5 days a week, yes. Monday through Friday. I do have 4 off-street parking spaces that I put in. I have a 100-foot driveway that's like 2-car wide, so even the staff could be blocked in because they're not going anywhere. But I don't have people spending time there either. You know, it's a drop off and leave situation. So other than staff, nobody's there. As far as the state goes, like I've passed everything with MSD to have all these licenses other than a use and occupancy permit from Frostburg. Like all fire inspections, all health inspections, all MSD inspections as far as like teaching the appropriate curriculum and having all the staff qualifications, background checks, all of that has been complete.
Oh, there are no neighbors here to complain. But do they know about it?
The next step will be mailing out notices to the neighboring properties. That would happen tomorrow as part of the BOZA hearing process.
So you're looking for a favorable approval, right?
Yeah. Do we need a quorum for a recommendation?
We have a quorum
Oh,
of
we
4
do have
members
right now. Okay,
present.
we do have a quorum, okay. That's right.
Yeah.
Getting who else is here.
They provide like letters from some like organizations in Maryland, Family Childcare, Alliance
Yeah.
organizations, parent organizations, and things like that. A lot of my parents work at FSU or have connections to FSU.
No, it's definitely a needed.
Everything. Yeah, since 2019, 25 daycares have closed in Allegheny County.
I guess the only question, so for kids being dropped off, will they be dropped off? You said there was a driveway, so is the idea to have them dropped off at the driveway or at the front entrance or?
They're dropped off at the back driveway unless it's like really bad weather and I haven't shoveled my 100-foot driveway, but otherwise, you know, they're out. That's where the main entrance is to the school anyways,
Okay.
is up the back. Yeah, and I'm in operation now, like I just have a license for 8. And this would extend the family daycare license to 12, and then the non-public private school would allow me to do things like this educational grant, which would allow students around here that we have, you know, a low socioeconomic status, they would be able to go to a quality program for free.
In addition to that, wait, that would be a total of 12?
I would have potentially a total of up to like 15 or 18 with the private school would have the 12 pre-K and then a few smaller like sensory like special needs in the private school section.
Well, if it's
Which is
fitting
a
with
lot
it-
less than the 25 that I had per by myself in the county, so.
Oh,
Do you take them outdoors at all? Do you utilize the East End playground or anything like that?
We do. I actually talked to Brian very nicely, and that was the reason for the fence getting put up in the playground. So we go to the playground daily. We're outside twice a day. We utilize like my yard, or we take a walk, but we go to the playground once, weather permitting. You know, we're getting to Frostburg. I did just put in 12 by 20 foot shed that I was hoping to finish before this winter, but construction, I can't, if you know construction workers, please let me know. To finish the inside of that, so I have an outdoor, like that area is like a gym area too, so that we have like more of a gross motor like space,
Sure.
just because we live in a place where it's not always feasible. You know, I don't want them to still be able to kick a ball or run or, you know, do those kind of things.
well, I would make a motion that we give a favorable recommendation to BOZA. I think this is a great asset for the community.
I appreciate that.
I'll second that.
Good luck with everything.
All right, thank you very much, I really appreciate it.
I guess next on the agenda is text amendment, which is principal permitted uses in the TLI zoning district. Jeff. Come on up.
Yes, come on down.
Come on down.
Good evening, commission members. The proposal is, again, just as you said, a text amendment in the technical and
Yeah, light industry.
light industry zoning district. This is really in reference to the Frostburg Business Park area. And my name is Jeff Barclay. I'm the Director of Economic and Community Development for Allegheny County. So I'm here representing the county. I, in fact, wrote the letter to the Honorable Mayor and Council kind of making this request. So it was then referred to this commission to consider. The project that I'm trying to help with this, on the front end of this, is Smitty's Tires and Service and Truck Service, I believe, is their business title. So you guys probably already know that they're considering putting in a fuel stop.
Yep, we approved the plan.
And
Yeah,
I know it's been here prior, and I believe the consultant, maybe even the owner was here, I'm not
Yes.
sure.
He did,
Yes.
yeah.
Well, that was a video chat, right?
Yeah, we did that. Middle of COVID.
Yeah,
Okay, I
we
can
did
remember,
that,
yeah.
yeah.
And
If
I
I recall
understand they were trying to make something happen that the board was kind of hamstrung with the way the current regulations were
So
written.
if somebody wants to jump in, I'll try to answer, I guess, a little bit of that. So the idea of going in and providing fuel wasn't so much an issue. We thought it fell within the parameters. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
The issue came down to a convenience store and whether they, within that district, they could commercially or sell food products as part of their business. That was sort of the issue.
it was to repair food on site, I
Yes.
think is what got the definition of a
Well,
restaurant.
You know, it was a little bit about the surrounding properties too, with
Right.
the nursing home being across the street, like, that too, if I recall.
I agree with with the board's findings at that
Right.
time with the way the law
Yeah.
was written, the ordinance was written.
Yeah, and that was the problem. It was under the way the ordinance currently were.
Yes.
Or are.
So I understand that completely. But I also, I guess on the other hand, I see what he's after, and that is you have truck traffic that if they're making a fuel stop, those guys and gals that are drivers, there's a convenience to them being able to get a bite to eat while they're stopped, so they don't have to stop again.
Yeah.
So that's the convenience that he's looking for on site. Secondly, though, we at the county and in my department, we've kind of also thought beyond that, which is thank goodness, we've been quite successful in making some other things happen in the park. Total Biz is, taking up the building there that's owned by Dave Weimer. We've been able to partner and build a building there, a partnership with BSI.
Yeah.
So their staff is there. The Sierra Hygiene was a 32,000 square foot building. They've put a 48,000 square foot building on there, and we're currently working in a possible deal to them to build another up to 60
or 80.
60 to 80,000 square foot building on lot 8. So there's just there's a potential to add a number of employees to that park. And I'm thinking having a sandwich shop or something there could be an amenity to those other workers to grab lunch or something like that, being close by to those other, to the other employees in the park.
What was I knew we talked about the traffic too, like, the entrance and exit to that too. I can't remember if there was any.
There was a lot that went into it, but the sticking point was restaurants were not permitted in the TLI. And by the way it was described to us, it was a restaurant, not just a convenience store.
Yes.
The convenience store could have slid because it was packaged goods and
Right.
could have sold it, but to prepare food on site meets our definition of a restaurant. I'm probably the only one that was on board. I'm not, Karen, were you on the board when we did the zoning change? You were on the board
Yeah.
too. So do you recall the discussions that we had? Because this was brought up about the uses in the TLNI. And what I recall on it was, the idea was is we wanted restaurants to be on the road on 36, really, in the commercial zone, as opposed to taking up space in our TLNI districts.
Yeah,
But, you
but
know,
it's so close.
but in retrospect, you know, we never considered a joint operation like this. And I'm not too sure that we should add it as a permitted by right, because the last thing I really want is for someone to drop a restaurant in the middle of that in our industrial areas, because we do have two of them in town. But definitely
wait,
by
we have
special
two what?
exceptions.
Two-
Two TLIs.
Okay.
Yeah, there's one on, you know, southwest end coming up Braddock Road, and of course the one we're talking
Yeah, the
about
one off
right
of
here.
exit 33
Yeah.
would be
So-
the other possibility.
My opinion was, I don't, going from our original discussions with the zoning, the idea was to push the restaurants, stuff that was POV driven, more towards, you know, 36, right in that G2 district or the C2 district, where that's what the intent of the district was. We never considered the possibility of, you know, something like coming in, you know, that would have a restaurant built into it. I'm thinking Sandy's.
Well, you know that, I mean, as far as the properties that we control, like down in it, we would
Yeah.
not, unless it was a joint thing, like we wouldn't exclusively allow McDonald's or something to come in there, and it's not best.
Unfortunately,
Use.
just because you can't control it doesn't mean we have to write it in our zoning that way, and that's the issue. We gotta make sure that what was written covers an event that you sell it, and then after that, someone else
Yeah,
picks
I
it up.
got you.
So I think instead of as a permitted use, to add restaurants as a secondary use in the special exceptions would be appropriate, especially as we're looking at larger buildings that could have, you know, a cantina or something in that and use that.
So you would propose doing an accepted use as an accessory to a business?
As an accessory to the business or as a special exception for a standalone. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, I guess the only other discussion I guess we could think about is the nature of the business is along, what is that road? That goes down into the industrial park.
Village Park.
Village
Parkway. If you think about the businesses on Village Parkways, you get to the bottom especially, there's a dog groomer, there's a sign
Yes,
manufacturer. I can't
Western
think of what-
Maryland signs.
Can't think
the
of what
dog
else is down there,
groomer.
but some of
The
that has
landscape
Corey
changed.
and Amy.
Some of
companies
it's
in.
changed more to a commercial instead of just an
Industrial.
industrial like
Sure.
commercial. So, you know, I guess my thought's always been, is there something we can do, like you said? I don't like to give the right to make exceptions like that for one person where you're not making it for everybody. So is there something we should do on the corridor? Leave the rest of the TIL alone, but just make that corridor road,
I don't know how
add
you,
the exception for that. I
well,
know.
really all you're looking at is 6 other lots here, but this is the big
Yeah.
unknown is up here on the other end of town. With being the same district, that kind of defeats that. I mean, you could say that it would be on has to be located on what we call a minor arterial or a collector road. The property would have to face a minor arterial or collector road. You could put that kind of recommendation in the special exception and handle it that way. But once it goes in permitted use, as a permitted use, there's no additional clarifications you have. That's what a special exception does to you. Make sure that use, as long as it complies with this set of standards, is okay. So, and I think we all agreed that we would have approved it that night had it not been for the restaurant, and
Yeah.
we just didn't have the ability to approve a restaurant. Because the way it
I
was
agree.
presented to us, Jeff, was, I'm putting a restaurant and I'm
Yeah,
also
it's
putting a
like
tire
sub
shop
shop. He was talking about.
Yeah,
that.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
So,
That's why I'm here to try to help kind of push, do this in a way that it can be done.
and I think the recommendation was from the board for him to withdraw the application, which he did, right? Yeah, because if we would have denied it, then it's a whole different ballgame of recourse. But by withdrawing the application, it gives him the ability to come back in front of us with, without
I think
any memory.
I think it's good conversation, committee members. I think if it was if it was approved as an accessory to a business, like an approval, but if it's a standalone, that it would have to be special exception. At that point, the committee would have, the planning commission would have to hear that again.
Yeah, and I think that's the way it is. Special exceptions still has to go in front of BOZA.
Right.
Because and really that's, I think, the way it ought to be handled, because the whole intent of this is, we don't want people driving down to the TLI to go eat. That's made to be as an accessory for those who choose to go there to get their tires and all that.
I don't
kind of stuff.
necessarily want that either.
So, yeah, I mean, you think
It's
about
not highest and best use.
Exactly. And like I said, we're not just thinking about the one section there on the east end of town. We also
Yeah, you're
have to worry
thinking about
the west
the exit
end.
33 end too.
Exactly.
And most of that, I think, is on Frostburg State Universities. Well, there is the piece that's
Most
owned
of-
by
mo-
J.D.
mo-
Ritchie.
most of it is, yes, I
It's
think.
probably like 50-50 split.
Because J.D. Ritchie, I know, would own part of that again.
So,
You're talking about this little strip here?
so that whole big
The
blue.
Oh, the
The
blue.
blue, yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah, yeah.
basically, this is, if you remember, at one point we had a proposal for a commercial development in here. At one point.
Is
We
that
had-
J.D.'s piece that used to be Winter
Yes,
Brothers?
Yes.
And then this somewhere in here is where the ABC Business Park
Oh,
is.
Winter Brothers sold that.
Yeah, J.D. Ritchie.
So
owns it
J.D.
now.
Ritchie.
He's the nephew.
I don't know if he still owns that.
Yeah.
Or
He
might-
does.
My understanding, he still does.
Okay.
He does. I'm actually
Yeah.
working with him
Yeah.
now on trying to get some commercial development
Yeah.
on there. So,
But you gotta understand, you look the way this was done, with the C3, the C4, and the C2, all that was placed along the major corridor to bring traffic in, and whereas the TLI is kind of set back a little bit. Could we argue that, maybe this should be, a C2 zone or an overlay?
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah,
Go-
I mean,
you can take it to the nth degree.
I'll tell you, when I
So-
petitioned, this is all on record, isn't it?
It is,
Yeah.
When I petitioned the staff at Frostburg, from my point of view, everything was on the table, and my initial thought was, could you just do a map change that would just be the 36?
Or-
In other words, do the Hamilton Relay,
Right.
which is our
Yes.
property,
Yeah.
and Smitty's property, and bring the C2 down there to Village Parkway Road, but then,
I think the problem came into is what was there was rich equipment at the time, and that wasn't permitted in that district.
Right.
but then it was described that the text amendment would be a much simpler process to make an effective change. So that's what we've went with here this evening, is to try to do the text amendment. And again, I'm totally acceptable. I think it's good discussion to do an acceptable use as an accessory to a business. And then a standalone, though, would be by special exception. I think that makes a lot of sense.
So Ray, under your idea, you would go under 311, Section C, special exceptions, and add a restaurant as part of as another permitted use?
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, so what we would do is, we would keep 19, that's just got proposed right now,
Right.
restaurants as an accessory use to a permitted use, numbers 1 through 18 above.
Yeah.
And then under special exception would be a standalone restaurant,
Okay.
period.
Yeah.
And then that gives the ability, so if someone really wants to come in and put a true restaurant in there, because like you said, Village Parkway, and you come up and you buy the sign shop,
Mhm.
that's not a bad spot to
Not
throw
really.
in something.
Sure. Right.
And we
So-
have additional property that kind of adjoins that
Adjoins
too.
all
That
that,
you
right.
could do something there if it made a lot of sense.
So, I mean, it's not a bad play. And then looking at the other end of town, I could see a restaurant going in that end, because there's, how many's in the ABC Park right now?
Well, it'd be close to the
A couple
senior
hundred
center.
people work there?
ABC Park.
Not quite as many as there used to be,
Yeah,
but
it
there's
was.
still some people there.
Yeah.
And plus, I mean, the university has big plans to do some other things there that would add more employment. And of course, me working with Jody too on the other piece is a close proximity of, again,
Yeah.
more foot traffic.
Right. I mean, it does kind of make sense, you know,
Yeah.
to have that.
But at this rate, as you said, it's the special exception. If it's a standalone, it can still have to, it still has, you're not telling them no, but it still has to go through a process, which is,
Correct.
makes sense.
So. Bethany, what's the process for this? Are you aware, have you followed up with this yet, as far as making the text amendment? I know-
If you give your approval, then I would be able to forward that to mayor and council for adoption, and then, it would go through, I believe, 2 readings, public hearing,
Yeah.
and then
Okay.
it would get
So it's still
adopted.
several months out,
Yeah,
so,
Once we make a recommendation, it wouldn't come back to us. This is basically,
Yeah, we'd probably be looking at February or March before the approval. Yeah.
yeah, before it would go into effect.
yeah, once the recommendation is made, we don't see it anymore, that's
Okay.
done. So basically, our recommendation is with the approval of the text as, now, since it's not written, we could always say, we recommend that this be written and presented next month and reviewed for the actual language. That's really what should be done. I don't wanna drag this out, but, you know, we gotta live with this stuff for here on out.
Yeah,
But
I wouldn't even see it at work session until next month, you know.
So we're not really missing out any time if we reviewed this in January
that's what,
as a
okay.
text amendment. If you do the draft of it, get it to all of us, and then we can vote on it. So I recommend that we table this until January and give Bethany direction to make the changes that we discussed about herein. And we bring it back in front of the planning commission in January. You know, obviously, you're welcome to come.
You're gonna make me
present it
come
again.
back
I'm sorry,
Who likes
Jeff.
seeing
Yes,
you,
come
Jeff?
on, it's January. in
Got
Frostburg.
Yeah, come on.
got the internet, you can come online.
Yeah, we'll put you online if you want to. We can work it that way.
Mhm.
But I think that's really what we should do is have it in front of us again. It doesn't
Yes.
slow anything down because of the timing of the
Just
mayor and
have
council.
it rewritten.
Yep, have
Yes.
it rewritten.
Have it
That way
ready
we
to go.
know exactly what's going in.
Oh,
there.
I got you.
So
So
then
the
we can vote
proposal
on it.
would be rewritten.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
We would actually have draft proposal, so
Yeah.
we can vote on it.
Right.
I'm okay with that.
I'm gonna take that as a motion, so.
I'll make a motion. We table this till next meeting.
Second.
And Bethany's gonna redraft.
Yep.
Redraft, and I'm
What
happy
he
to
said.
present as well.
Yes.
You can call later. No, a little bit of discussion on this before we do anything else. I think it's a good idea. We all thought it was a good idea.
No, I do, yeah.
And quite frankly, I'm pretty sure it was in LJ's notes to revisit when we did the rezoning. But I'm glad that you brought it forward before then. We're at the point, we're almost in the cycle to start the zoning
Yes.
process again and review everything. So,
But that's time consuming.
We know Smitty too. He's
Yes.
I don't think it'll be a hard
He
push
calls
for
me
mayor
every
and
day.
council.
yeah,
Okay.
I wouldn't think so either.
No, yeah.
I think
mean,
what he needs to do is put in a spa, an extra, you've got these drivers who are driving on and on and on. And my idea was that he could have like an exercise gym and maybe a juice bar. Get these guys off their
the
duff,
hookah bar.
let them work out and take a shower.
Yeah, now you're talking full truck stop there.
Yes.
Now you're talking
And
Love's
actually,
Pilot.
That's not a bad thing to have.
No.
So, and the nice thing about having it there is we're not driving heavy trucks on a lot of city roads for city maintenance. It's all off of.
Just
Yeah.
for conversation's sake, I've tried to push that situation on the exit 33 with J.D. Ritchie, and I won't say names, but a couple of different companies have looked at the financials of that, and they've come back negatively.
Oh, too much competition?
Too much competition, it's not readily visible from 68 until you're past the exit.
Yeah.
There was a whole bunch of different considerations that they put in there, and they basically said,
No.
oh, well,
To mention the mines.
That's not, I mean, you can get around the engineering on that.
yeah, it's okay. That part, the other part was these companies said that a store that focuses on the truck traffic costs them 3 times more
Yeah.
than a store without the truck stop.
Yeah.
So it's a significantly more investment, and therefore they would have to make a lot more money
Yeah.
coming
And
in.
that
And
makes- that makes
it
perfect
did not,
sense.
yeah, and it did not flush out. So for Smitty, it's probably the same calculation, right? It's
Oh, yeah,
to
he's
put
got,
the showers and the full blown. I mean, but for a small scale situation, the other part is we could end up with another diesel user in the park that would love to have a
Yeah.
fuel stop right next door.
And if I remember when Smitty was in talking, I mean, he sort of has a business model that is a little bit different than the Love's.
He does.
Because he you know, his is the tire repair.
He does a repair.
And he
He's
does
got
the
a,
repairs out on the road, so when they have to bring a vehicle in,
that's it.
now they're bringing a
He has
vehicle
a
in.
captive audience
He has,
at that
now
point.
he has captive, and so they can, again, get something to
So
eat.
right, I'm not to say, I'm not
And
to
it
say,
makes
sense.
It's
Yeah,
a
it does.
different model, but he does something that sort of fills in between what
Yeah.
Love's does.
Well,
Correct.
and he's a local guy too, you
Yeah.
know, so that,
I think it'll be a huge success what he does.
Yeah.
It'll be a lot smaller scale
Yeah.
than a Love's or a Pilot.
And I can see him capturing the local trucking market
He will.
more than the large scale
yeah.
retail commercial Loves.
Now that we got your attention, let's talk about Village Parkway.
What is it?
Village Parkway.
What's that?
We were hoping you'd tell us what good is
Yeah, we
coming.
were hoping you were gonna tell us that the county's gonna kick a bunch of money into the city so we can improve that with all the truck traffic we got.
Somewhere in all of our discussions, there was discussion of, because it's a huge right of way, is it 100 feet?
It's very
It's
wide.
100 feet. So there was some discussion.
236, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was discussion as to widen it, making it a 3-lane, at least a 3-lane with a turning lane.
Yeah.
There was somewhere that discussion came up from the county, and maybe
I've never
possibly
heard that.
funding. I think State Highway was looking at the entrance for some
Laura
issues.
discussed that. It was in one of the traffic meetings that she went to. So, I mean, it's,
Because it could use upgraded with the, as you said, with the amount of traffic now that's occurring in the business park.
hey,
Yes.
growing pains is a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a good problem to have, isn't it? Yes. Yes.
To let you know, I mean, it's been on our mind as a planning commission with all the stuff we've been approving, realizing that you guys still have acres back here to develop. And,
It's a lot of traffic.
Well, and the other part is
A lot of
too,
truck
is
traffic.
and I,
the
and
golf course still hasn't really been
I know.
developed into what to do there. But if something was to happen there too, that would further,
Again, lots of rumors,
Entice.
but no movement.
yeah, I know.
You probably know more than we know.
I know too much.
I know.
It's bad.
I'd like to see it stay green space, and I have suggested a KOA. These guys didn't like that idea. It's got such a great view.
Does have a great view.
It's lovely.
It really does.
they just don't make money. And that's what drives stuff nowadays. So,
And it's not to say you couldn't develop a plan with green space in it. With, you know,
I'll Karen will make sure that happens.
yeah, I mean,
No, not my land.
So, Mr. Chair?
Any more questions for him?
No,
the
I
witness?
figured while we got him captive here, we might as well throw it in.
speaking of captive audience, huh?
Yeah.
All right, I guess we're done with you, Jeff. I guess you can wander
Turn the
back.
heat lamp off.
I know, you're good. Shoot, we were hoping you had answers. Oh, well. But,
Thank you.
all right, so
Thank you,
we're good
commission
on
members.
what we want for next month.
Uh-huh.
That means we all get together in January. If anybody wants to come back, second Wednesday of January, y'all are
What
welcome.
about horses? Have a show arena or something. You know,
Hey.
Pritchard Farms,
That's a neat idea.
horse people have money. You put
I
in an
actually had
arena.
a plan submitted there for Jody's property.
I grew up on the other end of town, you know, and
Had
there was
racetrack.
the horse
Oh.
farm, and I thought about the Winter Brothers and that area. If you could bring the show horses in and have events. Got the green space.
You do that. Except for everything's like this.
Yeah, there's steepness to deal with on both ends there, on either exit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to come up with a ultimate development
We could
plan
have some
for the
great,
whole
great
piece.
trails all around town.
Mm-hmm.
Riding trails.
Was there anything else?
I know I lost my way on the which paper I'm on.
Here.
Somebody Somebody give me the second page.
Oh, jeez. Oh, that page.
Thank
That
you,
page.
Jeff.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
All right, any other discussions any members would like to discuss, or? Again, anything else from the public while we're still open? All right, seeing that, I guess administrative business, if you want to discuss the vacancy?
Yes, we have a vacant seat on this commission. We are advertising it'll be going in the newspaper, it's on Facebook, and it's on the main page of our website. We've already received 2 applications in 24 hours, so that's promising. And if you know anyone else who would be interested in serving, send them my way.
Good. Okay. I guess next, staff reports, the 2022 permit summary year-to-date.
Yes, so this last page of your hefty packet is January 1st through December 1st. I'll have a more comprehensive kind of final report for you in January that really splits this out into residential versus commercial, things like that. But this is kind of this year in permits at a glance. This was generated through our new iWork system that we've been using to track permits, which has been really, really nice for reporting. We can do a lot more with the data that we're collecting.
It's called iWork?
iWork, yes.
It's
Yep.
pretty slick.
It's been great for pretty much
It
everything
really
we're
has.
doing,
We use it for permits, code enforcement, and rental housing.
Rental housing, really.
Yeah, and it's been a game changer.
Yeah.
It's been a lot more efficient than the Excel spreadsheets that we were manually manipulating before. Saves a lot of time.
Oh, nice.
I'll ask a Conrad question. So on the building permits, does the report then break out commercial, residential, whether they're new or what the permits are?
Yes, I can do that. I just wanted to provide you all with
Okay.
a kind of end of year at a glance, and then next month, or for January, once we're
Okay.
through the full calendar year, I'll have a more detailed report for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question?
Yeah, not on this, but something else.
Okay. Well, if we're done with the report, Ray?
Yeah, what is going on in front of the former draft?
They are resurfacing that front parking area. Conrad met us out there. We did some research into the BOZA hearing back in 2010, and Conrad gave us the go-ahead to issue a minor grading permit for the front. In the back, they're having a full parking plan developed, and that will be coming before this commission.
Good.
Okay.
Yes.
Did they pick up the remnants of the old building, you know what I'm talking about, on the other side of Mechanic Street too? Or did,
I don't think so. I don't think he sold that yet.
yeah, that's really what they need for parking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
They
is.
still don't have enough
But
parking.
he's got all of his stuff stored back there right now.
Jacob?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really what you need to get, and we need to push out for parking,
Yeah.
because the draft never really was in compliance.
It worked for me or you because we could walk there.
Well, I mean, you can stumble, that's a different story, but yes.
I guess on that, is there any other good news or business or?
What is this? Is
Uh,
this for us? This sheet?
Oh.
Small town, Christmas, that's on Sunday at 9 p.m. So Frostburg is going to be on there. So if you get a chance to watch that, it's on the Up channel. And we are having a community watch party over at City Place too.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's on
You'll
the
see
website.
me on there.
My tourism gals have worked their tails off on that.
You said there's a watch party
Yes.
Yes.
City Place.
Oh.
Yes.
on Sunday?
On Sunday.
I
It
guess
starts,
I'll-
doors open at 7:30, I think, and
7:30,
then
I think,
Here, I'll
maybe
tell you, I got the
8:30.
email.
I know the episode airs at 9, so I'm sure there'll be
but I think there's going to be some refreshments too.
cookies, cocoa.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
A little bit of snow. It'll be good.
I ice.
Hopefully we'll be dug out by then.
I know. Pray for snow.
All right. Well, I guess if there's no more business, we'll conclude this meeting. Have a motion? We do have to motion to close the meeting, right?
Yeah, you have to have a motion, you don't have to have a vote. I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Yep, done.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you all.